Okay, Matt's going to show you how to align the jig. He already has some shafts. He's aligned on the machines with the slit whisks, and he's going to show you how to set up the jig with that.
The first process will be setting the bearing, where the bearing saddle aligns to the bearing. As you can see, it should be right here. So I will put this one in this spot so I can see the alignment ratio. Luckily, all we have to do is that, and it appears that it does align up. The next thing we'll have to be doing is to put a stop in to stop the cores so that we can set the alignment. I use a narrow one on the tip due to the fact that the end cap will have to go on there, and with thicker cores you can put another stop and use this. But with the thinner cores you will have to put the tip on last. So the first thing I'll need to do is to put in the T-nuts that will slide into the end. There's enough room in the end to be able to slide them in. So I have 4 clamps, I will need 4 T-nuts. And I'll slide them down into their position so that I can gently place those in there and get them close to tight but not snug. So one here, I'll need one here for this. So I'll slide the T-nut down and drop the screw on top of it, securing the screw so that it's down but not snug, so that we can still move it. And the thin one for the tip. If I were to use one for the end, I would use any one of those larger size. Alright, now that I have all the holders in place and yet still movable so that I can adjust them, we'll put the shaft in there. The bearing will fall into the saddle. Now I can align all the clamps, holding that secure. Push them up to the core. Gently remove the shaft so that you don't move the blocks. Finish securing them down. Try not to move them and knock out your alignment. Now they all seem to be up against the cores. That is against its stop. The only thing we have left to do is to move the holding clamps so that they will be securely fastened down, so they will be securely held down. You're only going to need 1 collar per core. This will keep the weight on the cores as you're sliding in the shaft for the next load. After you have done the top shaft, you'll be working on the lower shaft. The same way. You will be first putting this in here and trying to line up the bearing to the saddle. This might require moving the blade blocks completely around. Notice the fall in here, so I can take this out. This 1 or 2 down here. Take this out, move this 1 or 2 down here, whatever is required to properly secure the bearing. You can see where it is by placing it in the top holder. It looks like it would saddle right there, so we can put the rest of the blocks back in. Put the bearing saddle back in. And yes, it fits in there securely. Now the next thing we need are the clamps to secure them down. 3, 4. for the tip piece. So we will again slide in the T-nuts into the end. You'll require 4 of these. Slide them into position, approximately where they're supposed to go. Slide them all to the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you'll place the shaft back into the hole. After securing the screws to the bottom of the clamps, get them in relative position. Again, 1 for the tip if you are using larger cores. Okay, still movable. Place it back in, keeping it secure against the backstop. The bearing in its saddle. Slide them up to the cores. For the tip if we were using it. Gently remove the shaft so you do not disturb your clamps. Secure them down. Once again, place the shaft back in. Make sure that they are all in alignment. Slide your aluminum collars, 1 collar per core. And always make sure that the screws are up. Snug, you don't have to put a lot of force on them. And there it is. So then you would just put your shaft on there and you're ready for your machine. Then the loading would be just the opposite. After you have already wrapped all your cores with ribbons, you would take 3 new cores, place them into their spots, put your bearing in its saddle, put your handle down, to the bearing, 3, 4, fill it with air. Same thing for the top shaft. After you have wound the ribbons, 1, 2, 3, and then your bearing. Lock down your handle so it keeps the core secure. 1, 2, 3, up against the stop. Fill it again with air. You are now ready to use it after you apply the tips.
Okay, thanks guys. Any questions? Don't be afraid to call.